Going on YouTube, Cloverbells here back with another Scarlet Violet video, and today we are hopping back into Showdown to showcase yet another art type in Regulation H, and that is the Dug core. So what is Dug? It stands for Dragonite, Ursaluna-Blood Moon, and of course the Gholdengo here, D-U-G. Now, if you've been playing a lot of Regulation H, you already know this kind of core, but if you are still new or still trying to get your feet wet in Regulation H, then I think the Dug core is definitely worth exploring. It's one of the best archetypes to use right now for sure, just because, you know, you have three very strong options slapped onto one team. I would say all three of these are, you know, within the S tier, and they cover for each other relatively well. They're three very big offensive threats, of course Dragonite being the physical end, while the Ursaluna and the Gholdengo coming from the special end. But with Dragonite able to have access to Tailwind, now all of a sudden you give your team some needed speed control, because things like Gholdengo and Ursaluna definitely appreciate Tailwind support. If you look on like other teams, you can also see that Gholdengo and the Ursaluna definitely are next to Tailwind partners. You know, stuff like Talonflame or Whimsicott. These are easy Tailwind options to have next to these, right? Because again, look at their speed here. Gholdengo, 84, not quite enough to outspeed some of the faster meta threats, especially, you know, the Tera Dark Sneaslers here. But now you add Tailwind support here, and now all of a sudden you have pressure against that too. Same thing with the Blood Moon Ursaluna. These things, if they are max speed, for example, let's go Timid here, 114, or even technically Modest here at 104. After a Tailwind, Blood Moon can outspeed pretty much whatever you want, except for the Dragon Bolt, unless it goes into the timid nature here. Now, that being said, usually these Ursalunas are going to be relatively bulky. They're going to have the Assault Vest, and more times than not, they'll also have access to Terra Water here, just because this is very strong coverage, or I should say resistance against other Gholdengos, right? Because again, they want to just go for their Make It Rains. You can, you know, Terra in front of that with the Assault Vest. You can survive that Terra, that Make a Rain from another Gholdengo, and in addition to that, you can also deal big damage right back. Because again, remember with Mind's Eye, you can hit those Ghost types, and at the same time, Vacuum Wave is also coming onto these Ursalunas, right? And again, with Vacuum Wave being a priority move, base 40, it's not bad, especially if you make this thing a modest-natured special attacker here with base 135 or so. It's actually really strong when you think about it. And then Vacuum Wave can sometimes deal just enough chip damage, not even just breaking Sash, but just enough chip damage to put things in range for either Dragonite or Gholdengo to clean things up, or maybe something else on the team to clean things up, right? And then at the same time, you know, Dragonite here getting access to Scale Shot as well as Haze. Again, with one Scale Shot, you outspeed everything you want. You know, sometimes you'll get 4 or 5 hits. All right, and then Haze, this is great against, like, you know, other Dragonites, other Archeladons getting like monster boosts or bulk up setup. You can remove that instantly. The Dondozo stuff, of course, you can remove that. And then don't forget, you can also haze away your own Intimidate debuffs, right? If Incineroar wants to cycle against you, or you can haze away your drops, you know, if it's like Snarl or whatever, you know, coming against you, or even Gholdengo clicking Make It Rain too many times, you can haze all of that away as well. So very useful to have Dragonite on teams like this. And then from here, you know, it's just all about how do you support the Dug core here, right? How do you put these guys in position to do what they're supposed to do, which is sweep, right? Because again, we talked about the speed tier, okay, but sometimes that's just not enough with only Dragonite. You're gonna have some other options, especially when you have to deal with size spam teams. This is usually where, you know, options like Rillaboom can come into play, especially with fake out pressure, where you can just use this to help give the space that you need to set up the nasty plot here, right? It also gives you grassy terrain to override the size spam stuff with the psychic terrain shenanigans there. Okay, it's a great option to have on your team. But again, when you look at this, right, you know, with Dragonite being weak to ice, weak to other dragons, Gholdengo can resist that. Gholdengo being weak to fire, being weak to ground, Dragonite is great with that as a, you know, nice little pivot option there. And then, you know, Ursaluna, you know, being weak to grass and water. Okay, you can also pivot in Dragonite, and if it's fighting that you're weak to, Gholdengo looks great into that slot as well. So from here, you know, yes, you do have a Rillaboom. Then you can also consider just straight up, you know, defensive backbone with Incineroar and Amoonguss. This is also part of the standard Dug core, where you just have these guys, again, fake out just like Rillaboom here. Now you've got your Trick Room matchup with Amoonguss. You've got healing potentials with Pollen Puff. You could get your multi-scale back, ideally, right? And, you know, this is always going to be good on teams like this where you just mitigate damage, put things to sleep, give you the space, and then you just potentially sweep them after that, right? So that's another good supporting cast that you can have to this. You've also seen stuff like Alolan-Ninetales on teams like this. Usually, you know, they may have access to Aurora Veil, but again, Icy Wind speed control is very, very good. Blizzard spam, also strong. And then just being able to change weather, right? You think about how much weather is running around. Tyranitar, Torkoal, Pelipper, right? All 4 weather are viable this format. If you have access to your own weather, that's going to help you a ton, right? Because again, removing another team's weather means some of their other slots or other options don't get enabled by that, right? So Ninetales is good on these cores here. Okay, and then sometimes, you know, even the Annihilape to an extent, right? Because again, even though these are doubling up on your ghost typing, it's still fine, right? You can easily just lead Dragonite, Annihilape. So if they want to intimidate the Dragonite, okay, they're going to give your Annihilape the Defiant boost, right? And that's very, very costly, right? Because again, a hard-hitting Ape could just sweep the opponent, right? And then if you have access to bulk up, even better, right? Because again, now you're just making this even stronger here, and now you add Tailwind support as well, and now all of a sudden the Annihilape can be your win condition, right? Especially when you have like Drain Punch to always, you know, regain your health even though you are taking damage over time, right? And then just sweep them right back, because once you've accumulated enough hits, you know, for the Rage Fist, this is gonna deal a lot of damage here. So all in all, the Dog Core is very, very strong, okay? It just depends on how you want to play it, and I'm going to give you other ideas to support this, right? We're going to put out at least 4 or 5 Pokepastes here, so this way you can try out Dug Core yourself. But this is nothing new. This is something that we've covered even the first time around in Regulation H. We have a Dug video back then, so if you haven't watched that, you can definitely watch that now as well. But this is like more or less an updated version of that first video from last year here. So we'll start with the standard Dug first, and then we'll work our way up to the other variations. Okay, so we'll start with the standard Dug Core first. So that's gonna just feature Incineroar and Amoonguss like we showed you, just a second ago. And then this last slot here, usually this will be something like the Sneasler here. Again, another S tier Pokemon that you can just easily slap onto a team like this. And in fact, this entire team actually is like just full of a bunch of S tier mons here. But they still work with each other relatively well. So again, Sneasler can be like your faster, more aggressive option. Dragonite is more of your support physical option that can still do a pretty decent amount of damage when you think about it here. And then these guys can just be like your cleaners in the late game here, right? So how do we build from here? So of course we're just gonna have the loaded dice here. This will be Tera Fairy, great into the mirror matchup where the scale shot just gets whiffed. And then this last slot here will just be Protect here. This is easily just an Adamant 252/252 set. You're definitely free and welcome to go Jolly if you want, right? Just to get a little bit of an edge against the other Adamant Dragonites, of course, at the cost of a little bit less damage. The Ursaluna here, again, with the AV here, just, again, the other 3 moves are just standard. Of course, you're going to have the Blood Moon. You're going to have the Hyper Voice for your spread damage here. And then, of course, single target Earth Power. It's great into other fire types like Incin, other Gholdengos too, of course. And then, a typical EV set like this. So here's what I like to do. We're going to go Modest 116 here, just for the second bump in the special attacking stat for the Blood Moon. And again, if you are trying to get better at doing EVs for your Pokemon and you're not really sure what to do besides the 252 stuff, make sure you comment below asking what are EV bumps here, because this is a fundamental skill to understand in team building for competitive Pokemon. This is how you start creating a little bit more diverse EV spreads. If you understand what bumps are, they are one of the first things you consider when doing stuff like this. So comment below asking what are EV bumps. I will reply and respond to you. Otherwise, feel free to watch our video on this whole topic, which is linked in every single video in the video description here. All right. But anyway, we'll hit the second bump here. And then what I like to do is just invest about 156 EVs for this Blood Moon. That's going to hit 208, which is, again, a little bit more optimal for Rillaboom Grassy Terrain Recovery. We don't have it here on our team, but Rillaboom is common enough where the opponent will definitely want to bring it. Maybe not necessarily against this team, but it is an option to bring at the same time, just because it can put pressure against the Blood Moon. All right, then I just like to also reinvest another 116 EVs here. Why? Because again, this will get it to triple digits. This will be a nice solid even number for the Assault Vest, because this will optimize it for the 1.5 boost. which I love with even numbers. If this is an odd number like this, if you do this times 1.5, a little bit less optimal. Now it'll be a decimal value, which means anything in a Pokemon, if it's decimals, it will round down. We don't want to round down our bulk. We want to get nice solid whole numbers, right? So push it to an even number like this. But of course, the main selling point here is with this investment, you can take the Gholdengo Make It Rains, the Life Orb Make It Rains very, very well. In fact, there'll be 2-hit KOs, even if they click it without any Nasty Plot. Now, if they do click Nasty Plot, you can live it, all right? Modest 252. And then at the same time, if they are modest 252, Life Orb, and they set up the +2 Nasty Plot, if you Tera Water, that is also a 2-hit KO. So that's the selling point with this EV spread here. Then after that, ironically enough, your speed will just also wind up at 116 here. Investments, which means you'll get to 87. And 87 is also a decent speed tier for, outspeeding the Adamant Sneasler under Tailwind here, right? Because this will hit 174. The Adamant Sneasler will hit 172. So you can outspeed the Adamant Sneasler under your own Tailwind here. So this is the selling point of this spread that I like to use. And it's a decent starting spread. If you have your own, feel free to use your own, of course. But this is the one that I like to give out when people don't know how to create an EV spread for a Blood Moon Ursaluna. All right, Gholdengo here. I just like to go simple Life Orb here, Timid 252, 252, just so that, at the very least, when I'm first testing teams, I still have the option to have the faster Gholdengo, or at least make it come down to a speed tie. If later on I decide to go a little bit more bulkier and go modest, I will do that. But at least to start things off, I'll do the timid set, right? Just so that I can see some speed interactions in a best of 3, right? So if they outspeed me, I know we're speed time because I'm already max speed. So that's the only way that's going to happen here. All right, so I'm just going to re-optimize my EVs here, with the Life Orb here with 169. Again, you want to end in the 9 when you have the Life Orb because, again, if you read the item, you're losing 1/10 of your max HP per turn. Right, so what does that mean? If you push this to 170, for example. What's 170 divided by 10? That's 17, right? But if you undercut the threshold by 1 like this, 169 divided by 10, that's 16.9. That's not going to round up to 17. That's going to round back down to 16, right? So again, Pokemon will always round down. So you always want to go as much HP as you can, but don't pass the 10th threshold here, right? So 169 is great, 179 is also great, 189 also very, very good, because these are all benchmarks where you're just under the threshold by 1, okay? But I'm gonna go 169 here because, again, we're gonna be super offensive here with the Gholdengo because, again, we have the Nasty Plot on our side. Incineroar here, of course, we're gonna have Intimidate for the damage reduction. Let's go Safety Goggles, great against the Spore shenanigans against another Amoonguss. And then Flare Blitz and Knockoff, also very, very nice. 2 stab moves that you love. Of course, your Fake Out Pressure and Parting Shot are going to be ideal. Now, you can go standard bulky instant here. Just go like standard careful stuff, which is fine. A little bit more common now are the Adamant variations, and you can definitely do that. We'll put that on some of the other teams. But at least for starting, you can definitely go the careful route. Let's go 156. Let's go to the benchmark. Let's go 36 investment as well. This will get it to 85. A little bit slower than the Ursaluna here. But if you want, again, well, after Tailwind, you can outspeed another Chomp. And if you really want, you can increase this a little bit. Let's go to about 88 here, right? So this way we don't speed tie our own Ursaluna. And still at the same time, we can outspeed another Adamant Sneasler. And then from here, we can just put, let's see, how much do we want to put here? Can we go 228 here? 236? Let's go. Actually, I think 220 is good. And then we'll just have 68 EVs here, right? Just to round out the rest of our bulk here, right? So, more or less the same thing what we're doing with the Ursaluna speed here. Just outspeed the Adamant Sneasler under our own Tailwind. All right, Regenerator here with the Amoonguss. I like Tera Water here. This is nice with the Citrus Berry. Again, also Gholdengo resistance. And also, Flare Blitz resistance, Ice resistance. Water is a great Tera for Amoonguss usually. So let's go Rage Powder, Pollen Puff, Spore, and then just Simple Protect here. And then I just like standard relaxed nature on this Amoonguss. 0 IVs here. Okay, let's go to 244 this time, right? Normally I would go to 219 just to optimize for regenerated recovery, but we do have the berry this time. Let's push it 1 over to 220 for to optimize that. And then go to the second benchmark here in defense, dump the rest here in Spadef, and you just have a very standard bulky Amoonguss here. With the Sneasler, we can go Focus Sash here, right? Again, the Sash is going to be important in survivability. You can just also go as Tera Stellar here, but 3 stab moves here, right? We're going to have Protect in the last slot here, Dire Claw, of course, the Casino move, Close Combat, without a doubt, strong into the Steel types, and then finally Throat Chop here. Again, a little bit of coverage against Gholdengo and some other ghost types, right? So not bad here. And again, we just like Adamant 252, you know, just even after they get us to Sash, they'll activate Unburden, and then we're kind of chilling from there because we can even outspeed some of the other threats, even if they do have Tailwind here, right? So this is it. This is like the standard. Oh, we forgot to do the Tera on Gholdengo here. Let's also go Water. I think Water is also really, so like again, Water. This one we can go Ghost here, of course, with the fighting move here. Dragonite is Fairy, and this is your classic starting Dug Core, which again has done very well right now in Regulation H. Always, you know, getting some results depending on the tournament you're playing in. But I like to play standard core first, and then I'll show you like some of the other stuff here. So let's do a couple battles here just to see how it works. All right, so this is almost somewhat of a mirror there, right? He's got the Instant Amoonguss, Gholdengo, Dragonite core there. So he's got 4 of the same bonds here. The difference being the Ninetales and the Como. Their Como on the same team as the D9 is also very interesting. Double dragons there. But our own Gholdengo looks very good here, right? Now, of course, we do have to watch out for the other Incineroar there. But other than the other Incineroar there, we should be like, okay, this is also where we're going to want to bring in the Blood Moon. But our own Instant also looks quite good against what he has here, right? Because we can pressure the Gholdengo and the Ninetales and the Amoonguss. We can't even fall asleep because we have Goggles here, and then we can Intimidate the other Dragonite as well, right? So I think those 2 mods that we have are in particular are going to be really good here. He's going to lead with his own Amoonguss and Instant. So he's going to lead the Backbone first, right? I'm going to go with Instant Gholdengo. I'm going to go for the free nasty plot here because there's not really a whole lot he can do to stop it, right? And he fakes out my Instant, again, probably trying to, you know, not let his Amoonguss die, but this is a free nasty plot, right? And he goes for the Spore here. Again, we do have the Goggles. This is a BO1 kind of thing, so he probably doesn't even know. But we wipe off the Amoonguss, right? And now that did a lot of damage into the Instant. I don't know why he clicked Parting Shot there. I maybe anticipated a switch there. I'm not really sure, but that was as good of a value turn as we can get here. He does protect with the Ninetales here. That's again another free nasty plot. You know, even if he goes for the knockoff here, it's still not the worst case scenario here. The Ninetales protect is good. I was going for that slot just in case he had a Sash there. But here is the Tera Ice Freeze Dry. Good damage there, but not enough there. But I do respect this play. That was the best play he could have done because again, if he picks up the Gholdengo, he's got a pretty decent shot here at winning. But because he doesn't, now we pretty much are in the driver's seat. There's not really a whole lot he can do now. Because all he has left is that low health Incineroar. We still have other 4 options, by the way. So this is easy. Now we can just pivot out, you know, with the Parting Shot and then just go into our Blood Moon or Ursaluna, right? And then from here, we can just blast the Instant. Regardless, he can't even do enough damage to the Gholdengo or be outspeeded anyway. All right, he's got a weird Arc. This is not even Arc Helidon Rain. There's just a bunch of mons here. He's got Instant Sneasler, and then there's Palafin. Then there's the Yanmega and the Hisui. Jesus, I don't know what he was doing here, but again, well, our own Gholdengo looks great here. Even our Dragonite also can do something here. So Dragonite Instant is my player, so we get a double Intimidate here going, right? It is White Herb Sneasler, so that means the Sash is on the Yanmega here, which is fine, right? So there's the Force Out with the Protect there. He gives me the Trick, actually. That's a Trick Palafin. I'm surprised he did that. Okay, so now he has the Goggles. Okay, Dark Claw giving me the poison. That's probably the best case scenario rather than like, you know, the sleep with the paralysis stuff here. So I thought he might switch this Sneasler. He actually just stays in. Doesn't even close combat the Instant, by the way, which I thought he might do because then that would just give me the free switch into like Gholdengo stuff. There is an Icy Wind Palafin there. Super effective damage there, but not enough to take out the Dragonite there. There's his own Palafin, so you know what's going on here, right? So there's the Zoroark, right there. There it is. So it's actually not intimidated. And then again, another fast knockoff from my Instant. And this poison actually looks really good here. to an extent, because now we do get a switch into either our Gholdengo or Ursaluna that we brought in the back here, which is exactly what we got going on here. Now, I do see an anticipation of a protector, so I'm just going to click Hyper Voice first, just in case. I did Tera Water, just have resist to the Palafin there. And, you know, he does want to stall out the last turn of Tailwind there, right? So Yanmega's faster, but that's okay. We have an AV Ursaluna. I'm just going to go into Gholdengo here, just in case. He does go Tera Water Palafin, Air Slash, and Wave Crash. Not enough, so he doesn't even care about the Instant, which means goodbye Yanmega. I'm just trying to isolate the slots here. I wasn't sure if Hyper Voice was going to pick up there. There is a Wave Crash. He does take out the Gholdengo, but he can only take out one, right? So Death by Ursaluna or Death by Gholdengo. He chooses Death by Ursaluna, and even if he did, by some miracle, pick up one, and you know, we still have Incineroar in the back. All right, next variation. Let's look at the Victory Road winning team from Shohei. It's actually a team that was used before in the first go around of Regulation H, and it looks like this. There was that Rillaboom that we discussed earlier, and then from here it was just simply the Maushold and the Annihilape combination here. So now you've got a lot more options here, right? So you've got Maushold with Friend Guard, which is again really, really strong. The selling point, of course, was the Sash on the Maushold. So you really had to double tap it if you wanted to get past it into some of these other hitters here. And then, of course, you have the ever-threatening Annihilape here with, of course, the Defiant boost here, right? And the whole selling point here is with Rage Fist, Drain Punch, Bulk Up, and Protect. You can set up this Annihilape and put it in position where it can sweep here. And under Tailwind and Friend Guard ideas here with Fake Out Pressure, the Annihilape can do just that here. So we can slap on the Citrus Berry here, which is, again, really, really solid. Okay, the Rillaboom will, of course, instead of having the AV, which is having on the Blood Moon here, we can be a little bit more offensive and put Miracle Seed on this Rillaboom. So now it's going to hit even harder with its grass type moves at the cost of a little bit more bulk. But again, we do have Maushold Friend Guard stuff if we still have to use it, right? But standard set here with Fake Out Pressure, Grassy Glide, Wood Hammer, right? These are hard-hitting Wood Hammers now, very, very hard-hitting. And this last move here, you can still put U-turn, but high horsepower is also relatively solid. This will hit, you know, Gholdengos and Incineroars too, you know, if you're not intimidated. So take advantage if you can. Whereas the Maushold here, it's just going to be follow me and beat up plays, of course, for the Annihilape. Then you've got Super Fang for big chip damage, put things in range for, you know, Gholdengo or Ursaluna and the Annihilape to pick things up in the end game. And then, of course, the Annihilape that we've already discussed here. This one we can make Terrify here. Again, Gholdengo resistance, remove your side spam weakness, and then neutralize the dart, what's that called? The flying weakness as well here. So we got a lot going here. Of course, the Maushold, we can just be relatively simple here with the Jolly 252 set here. We'll just dump the rest into HP. You don't even need attack here because all you really got is Super Fang. So you can just put it in HP or just put in defense or whatever. The Rillaboom, if we're going to do this, then honestly, just maximize the damage that you're going to put with the Miracle Seed. So I just like going 252 on this Rillaboom here. Let's put 132 investments, again, just to optimize the HP for Grassy Terrain Recovery. Now we have this with the Blood Moon, so now this 208 HP works out relatively well because it's a factor of 16. And then just do this, right? 1 point in the bulk stats and then just dumping the rest here into speed. 120 investment in speed, not too bad. And then this Annihilape here, what I like to do with this, I still like to go max speed Jolly just to have the edge over like other timid Gholdengos, for example. And then I still like to go 180 investment here, just again, also for that 208 number, that Citrus Berry number here. We're going to get most of our damage, you know, with the Rage Fist and the bulk ups. So it's not really all that special, right? Even if you have something like this, for example, right? This is still like, okay. I'm just going to actually drop it down to this and then just put the rest in Spidef just to get another even number for the bulk up here. So, you know, you're going to get most of your damage from the bulk ups, right? And then as well as, you know, getting recovery with Rillaboom and the Citrus Berry, you're going to stay on the field for a while. And you have the space to set up 2 bulk ups. You've got a Maushold with redirection. You've got Rillaboom with Grassy Terrain Recovery. Okay, you've got your own Citrus Berry as well. So you're going to stay around for a while. Which is good because you really want this ape to be like your late game cleaner, whereas all of these guys are just poised here to set up and deal big early to mid game damage, right? So from here, where do we want to go? This, all of this stuff stays pretty much the same here. This Dragonite won't change. I'm going to keep the same Ursaluna set. Same with the Gholdengo here. This is Tera Fire Rillaboom, Tera Ghost Maushold, and Tera Fire Annihilape there. I'm sure this pace is like Publix even since like last year. It's not the same pace. This is our own EV spreads here. But I still like the way this Annihilape is supposed to, at least with this EV spread. I still like Max Speed Jolly Ape. Still very good to have a fast Annihilape, especially into the mirror matchup. And again, a hard-hitting Rillaboom with the Miracle Seed here. Also very important here. So let's test this out and let's see a couple battles with this. All right, so here we have a simple P2 balance team with Kilowattrel as well. There's the Sneasel and the Arc. Now, this kind of Archeladon we know is something like a Power Herb set because there is no Pelipper here. It's going to try and take advantage of Sturdy. Usually these Arcs are also Tera Flying because, again, they want some synergy with the Ursaluna here. So it's a pretty good matchup. It does have the Trick Room mode available to him, but again, we also have tools to weaken that Ursaluna, right? We have Rillaboom, again, with Grassy Terrain to weaken Earthquake stuff, and we still have the Annihilape here. If we can get a bulk up, so we can still wall out his ground moves, and again, he can't really hit us with Facade because, again, we are that Ghost type here, so we still have plays. So I'm going to go with Maushold Ape here. Let's see if we can get things going with this Annihilape, and it stops his Incineroar lead as well if he tries to do it. It's Kilowattrel Sneasel, so I'm going to Tailwind. I'm going to Tera Ghost here. He has no choice but to try and set up the Tailwind because he's not sure, right? Because I could be Scarf Ape here, but again, Bulk Up looks great here. That burns a turn of his Tailwind here. I'm going to protect Mouse here just to extend my Friend Guard, right? I know I can survive that Air Slash because I also have the Berry here. The double up won't KO anyway, and now I just want to break Sash and get recovery on my Ape, extend my longevity here. Now I can give up the Maushold here, right? And I can go for the kill on the Kilowattrel. He's hit me once, so I know this Rage Fist can definitely KO even at +1 here. So goodbye Kilowattrel. No Tailwind for the rest of the game. He has one turn of Tailwind left. I've got Rillaboom here. So this is also pretty easy. He does Tera Flying now. Again, maybe scared of the, again, Drain Punch here. Dryer Claw almost takes out my Rillaboom there. So thankfully it doesn't. But again, this is another bulk up. I'm trying to wall out the Sneasel in the end game here. But I don't want to lose the Rillaboom yet. I'm just going to go into the Blood Moon first. And again, Throat Chop does some damage. I don't know why he clicked that move there. It's really all he can really do. But here's the Electro Shot going into my Ape. Good damage, right? But not enough to pick up the KO, of course, right? Now he has Instant in the back. Well, thank you for the +3 there, right? I'm just going to go into Rillaboom here. Try and get, maybe Fake Out on the board next turn. He actually just protects the Arc there. He was going for the kill into the Ape. I'm very surprised he did that because, again, my Ape is faster, right? So this is an easy play. Just Drain Punch the Instant, get all my health back. Now, all of a sudden, the Ape can't be removed. I'm +3 there. I'm probably faster. And, I have my Rillaboom on the field with me. I still have Ursaluna as well. So I think that's a little bit too much for one Archeladon to handle, so he just forfeits. All right, this is some kind of Sneasel balance, right, with the Rillaboom and Instant with Animungus, and then he's got Primarina on the side. So no Ursaluna, no Gholdengo's there, no King Gambit, just saying I'm going to rely on Primarina and Sneasel here. Well, Dragonite looks really good against a lot of what he has as well. Of course, there is Intimidate on his team. Probably Primarina comes, right? Because if you look at Primarina, Fairy coverage into D-Knight and the Ape, right? And then, of course, the water coverage into the Blood Moon. But we have tools around the Primarina. So, again, we have a Rillaboom, right? So here we go. Rillaboom and Ape. I can do Fake Out, Bulk Up stuff if I want. He's going to go Sneasel Primarina here. So I could easily create some space to try and set a Bulk Up. But I was a little afraid of the Tera on the Primarina potentially. But he didn't Tera. He just went straight double protect first, maybe not wanting to get Fake Out. So I could have just easily set up a Bulk Up here, right? But I need to get rid of the Primarina, so this way, there goes his Haze user, just in case, right? And he didn't Tera, oddly enough. So he just let the Primarina die for free. So free Bulk Up for me, untouched, which is fine. Here comes Talonflame. I'm going to pivot out into Gholdengo here. Okay, just in case. Okay, dual Wing Beat, that's the wrong move to click, right? Because now, that was never going to KO. But now he just made my Rage Fist even harder, right? So another free Bulk Up. I can wall out the Talonflame and Sneasel now. He can't Will-O-Wisp me. Just going to get a little bit more recovery here with Protect. There's the Tailwind. He was already faster. I don't know what the play was there. But again, free, make it rain damage. Again, just breaking Sash, breaking Gale Wings if I have to, right? More recovery for Annihilape here. right? Now he goes into Amoonguss, which is again fine. I'm gonna go into Maushold here, right? And he does click Dire Claw into my Ape. Thank you for making Rage Fist even harder, right? Goodbye Sneasler, and you know, doesn't even break my berry yet. Now he's just Amoonguss and Talonflame here. This endgame is actually rather interesting, but he can't ideally break me. All he can really do is just click Spore, put me to sleep, but there's not enough offense that can be put out here, right? So he does put my mouse to sleep. Talonflame protects again. I do make some bad plays here at the end of the game, so this is also partly on me. But again, we're just so far ahead that he still can't deal enough damage with the Talonflame and the Amoonguss here. So this is just a game of protects and, you know, misreadings here, right? Again, another Rage Fist that gets whiffed here, right? He spores my Ape to sleep now. You know, at this point, he's just stalling here. I could have even clicked Super Fang here. I just wanted to redirect and get something else on the board here and keep my Ape safe. But again, we're still chilling here. Again, we're falling asleep again. I figured the best way is just to remove the Amoonguss and then just get rid of this Talonflame, right? Because look, he can't do any damage, right? Just stalling this out here. So there's the Pollen Puff. His Talonflame goes back to full. He has Gale Wings back, but really, what does it do? Not really a whole lot. Flare Blitz, again, no damage. Thank you for activating my berry. But now, of course, I can Super Fang the Amoonguss, a little bit of chip, okay? And my Ape stays asleep. But again, he knows now that he can't win. So now there's the forfeit. He just wasted my time. Really what it came down to. All right, next variant also involves the Alolan-Ninetales here. So more or less, these 5 can stay with Rillaboom and Annihilape here. But now we're adding weather control to the team, right? And then at the same time, we get another special attack on the board to go with Ursaluna and Gholdengo here. So Ninetales with Snow Warning. Again, the weather stuff. Focus Sash is available, so we're going to slap it on there. Tera Ghost, of course. And now we've got Blizzard Spam. Okay, we've got the Aurora Veil on our side. We also have more speed control with Icy Wind. But how about this move? Icicle Spear. Now, when we first saw this in Regulation H the first time around, there was some eyebrow raising, right? Why is this move here? Okay, it's actually for the Annihilape. Okay, so what ends up happening is what you can do is go Tera Fire, you know, spear your own Ape. Okay, so this way you get your Rage Fist going. And then now you can sweep with the Ape, right? Because you clicked Icicle Spear into your Ape a bunch of times, right? So it's a nice way to self-activate it, right? Especially if you anticipate some protects or whatnot. This is also pretty good at breaking Sash, and also really nice into like Dragonites, for example. But Blizzard, Icy Wind, and Aurora Veil are still like very, very solid moves here. So with the Sash, you can just go a simple 2-5-2, 2-5-2 set here. Again, with trying to get as much damage as you can with the Blizzard. This is not a Specs Ninetales, so it's not going to do like amazing damage, but, you know, damage nonetheless. And this is still like, okay. And now, you know, even with this, what else can you do here? Can you go and re-up some? No, I can leave it at 52 here. I can also just take away some stuff here and just go 68. And now I can re-optimize my... Yeah, I think this is a little bit better. I should probably just do this with the other Ape on the other side. But this is okay. I'll adjust that pace in a bit there. But 68 looks a little bit better. We re-optimize this. The only difference now is, again, I have the 1 less defense for the bulk up, but it's like fine. Look, you've got Aurora Veil. You're still like okay when it comes down to it. So this one is Alolan-Ninetales support. So I like this variant as well. So if you like this one, give this one a go. Otherwise, Maushold fits this slot well, but let's show this in a couple games. All right, this one looks like standard arc range stuff. The only difference here, he's got a Maushold instead of like a Gholdengo in that slot there. Very interesting choice. But again, that's probably like beat up Maushold just to try and enable the Archeladon for the body press stuff. So I understand that. I still like Rillaboom in the end game, potentially, you know, for that Bastion Legion. But D-Knight and Ape looks okay here with Tailwind and bulk up stuff. There's the Ape. I'm sorry, there's the Maushold here. He goes Tera, Grass, or Archeladon. Very interesting. They're probably not wanting to take a Drain Punch immediately there. But he used Population Bomb on his own Archeladon. So it's actually not even beat up. It's actually just straight up Population Bomb there. So very interesting there. I'm surprised he did it, but he did it. So now this Arc Body Press is like max, right? So there's bulk up here. There's one bulk up. And here is my Tailwind here. Now, what I should have done here was just... well, there's the Flash Cannon. So there's some damage there. But probably just, you know, protect D-Knight and just Drain Punch the Maushold, right? Because, again, the Arc is already chipped here, right? I could have just protected D-Knight a little bit, right? But I chose to let it die, and that's partly on me here because look, I missed the skill shot anyway, but I do get a little bit of recovery from the Maushold. So if I could take those 2 turns back, I probably would have just protected D-Knight first. And then just play the all my friends are dead game. Just isolate everything until it's Arc. That's the only one left here. So the Instant has to make a play here. Thank you for giving the Ape another free boost here. So he fakes out the Ninetales instead. Right? So that means you're going to die to the Ape because there's the Drain Punch. So all you did was just click Fake Out. I was going to click Blizzard Spam there. But there's the Body Press. Goodbye. Ninetales there. Could have Tera'd that easily, right? But I didn't think it was worth it yet. This Basculation is just banished, so he doesn't even get a chance to do anything. He just dies to Grassy Glide, and now this 8 can just bulk up even faster. So that was like another mistake. I could have even just Tera Ghosted the Ninetales, spam Blizzard, super effective damage into Arc, right? It's a Grass type now. Okay, here's Rage Fist, you know, dealing some decent chip damage now. But again, I still need more bulk ups. So I guess what would have even been a better play was just keep going for bulk ups here. So, you know, not quite complete optimal plays here, but again, still enough to overwhelm the Arc here just because I have the Rillaboom here. Now, at the time, I was testing Protect Rillaboom, and it was really, really good. And I may just put that back anyway, just because it works out really, really well here. Again, more free bulk ups. Okay, he hits the Annihilape this time, but that's fine. Again, that's more Rage Fist damage for me. We're still getting Grassy Terrain recovery there. A little bit more Rage Fist damage. Now we can definitely KO the Arc. Because we have enough damage on the board where that is the case. And he has no recovery anyway, right? Besides my own Grassy Terrain. But now this is it. So we could have even just ended it there. I just clicked Drain Punch just to make sure, right? Get a little bit more recovery. Clicks Electro Shot. Probably knows he lost, so he just clicked that anyway. But again, the Ape is strong. If you have the right setup and you have the right support tools, there's nothing really stopping it, and it can just sweep a lot of teams there. All right, this is another interesting variation with P2 bounce. So instead of something like an Incineroar, he has a Whimsicott here. Quite the choice. So maybe there's no Tailwind on this Hydreigon, but if you're opting for Whimsicott here, you have the option to have Weather on your side. And I kind of thought he might try that, but again, it's pressure into some of the stuff I have, but I wanted to still lead Dragonite anyway, just to set my own Tailwind. And here's Ninetales and D9 as I chose as lead, because Ninetales looks good into a lot of his stuff here. So he actually goes Tera, Fire, Hydreigon here. So this is probably Sunny Day like I thought, and it is just Raw Heat Wave. Interesting choice there. I don't know if that's worth the instant replacement, but he does pretty good damage, right? He does miss. Okay, so there's that, right? And I don't want to lose my D9 already. I want to have Tailwind in the end game because that might give me the edge. So, you know, with my Icy Wind, I can slow down this Hydreigon if the Whimsicott went for Tailwind now and just neutralize his speed. He crits the Ninetales, Ketamine to Sash, the Ursaluna almost stops. That's actually a little bit too much more damage. So now I kind of have to go back here. He goes into a Mungus, oddly enough. Vacuum Wave, decent into Gholdengo here. And he does go for the Make It Rain and removes my Ursaluna. And my D-Knight loses multi-scale here, right? So that's that. But I get to have Ninetales back on the board here, right? So he goes into Hydreigon. Why he did this, I couldn't tell you. But there's the Blizzard spam, okay? And I went for the Amoonguss KO there. And I was hoping I would get it. But again, G9 only hitting 4 there. Not great. But he actually just decides to remove the Ninetales. And I think that kind of cost him. Because if you slept the D-Knight there, it would have been great. But I still would have had Blizzard spam more the next turn there. So Gholdengo has to go Tera Water here. I don't have a choice. Okay, there's my Dragonite Tailwind here. I'm going for the nasty plot. Right, if he goes Heat Wave now, that's fine. Dark Pulse is not enough to KO. Okay, so this is good news for me. Because now I can remove the Amoonguss and single target the Hydreigon here. With the Shadow Ball there. So I'm happy about this because now this means I win. So we survived the Whimsicott shenanigans, right? I don't think I needed to Tera out there. I just think Ursaluna just took way too much damage for that. But I still have the D-Knight in the end game and it's helping me, right? And there's the 5-hit that I needed against the Amoonguss earlier. I don't know why he didn't go for Spore, but you know, we end up winning in the end game because we have a little bit more offense than him. All right, one more here. This is like some weird, probably some weird Perish team that's like worse than the Wolf Glick one, but here it is. He's got Politoed there. I'm just going to go Ninetales again. Even if he changes my weather, it's not the worst thing in the world. There's the Amoonguss and there is the Arc, right? This is fine. I'm still going to, you know, Tera the Ape here and he can't even like spore me and what he could if he wants, but I'm just going for the Ice Ghost Spear now just to show you the combo. And this is what I was going to do even if he led the Politoed, right? So the Ape now looks great. There's the Rage Fist into Amoonguss, goodbye, right? So there's the combo that I wanted to show you, right? Now he brings in the Politoed, but this is still fine. In case this thing was Sash, I don't think it's likely that he was Sash, but, you know, just in case. Or if he Tera potentially, you know, I just wanted to remove it anyway. Goodbye, Rage Fist. I don't even know if I needed to Icy Wind there, but I did it. Electro Shot does decent damage, but again, I just removed 2 mons in 2 turns with the Ape here. Now here's the Meowstic. I'm going to go into Blood Moon here. I want to have Weather Control later. But there's the Fake Out. Okay, weirdly enough, there's another Electro Shot. Goes into the Protected Ape. Now we have a Blood Moon on the field to put pressure. Goes Tera Psychic Meowstic. Psychic Noise into the Ape. Does finally remove it. Okay, but I just need to isolate the Arc Slot there and just try and remove the Meowstic. Depulse, again, not bad, but not enough. We have an AV. Now I can go into Ninetales. Now I'm faster, right? I'm just going to go for Veil here, right? Could have even went for Blizzard, but I just wanted to deal some decent damage here. Maybe Blizzard was the better play. I don't even know if I needed to go for Veil, right? Electro Shot into the Ninetales. He does remove it anyway, so I guess Blizzard was probably better. But I still have Gholdengo behind screens and whatnot, so I'm just going to go Nasty Plot. Click Earth Power anyway. I know he has no Assault Vest for that matter, so you know, I still end up winning. Another variant is actually including a second Fake Out user on this and also change up on the Annihilape set here. So I saw this as one of the winning team from the Trainer School tournament piloted by Sanvi. But again, another previous variant that was used the first time around in Regulation H looks like this. So the Ape this time is going to be Safety Goggles, right? And then we'll either make this Tera Fire or Tera Water. I'm just going to put Water here because that's what was used. Rage Fist, Close Combat, Final Gambit along with Taunt here, right? And the goal is still to go max speed on this and then still have 188 EVs here. Again, for being able to remove Arkeladon, right? You know, just 208 HP there. And then, of course, the rest can just go into the attack investment here. Actually, I think it was like this. Yeah, something like this, right? And then the Incineroar, again, another standard set here, but this will be the berry set because we put the goggles on the Ape, but still Flare, Blitz, Knockoff, Fake Out, right? And of course, Parting Shot here. And this one, you can go with the Adamant set here, right? So you can go Adamant 36, right? With about 204 HP, that's pretty good. And then honestly from here, this speed investment, you can go like max speed instant or like almost close to max speed. I just went to 124 there. So this way under Tailwind, I outspeed the Jolly Sneezlers. I thought that was good enough. And then just dumping the rest here into Spidef there. I think this is like okay. If you want a little bit more speed on your instant, fine. But I still wanted like some bulk on this, right? So I still put in some special defense there. And again, we re-EV'd the Annihilape and changed the moveset. Now this Rillaboom here can still be high horsepower, of course, but the change up on this type of team was that this was actually Assault Vest Rillaboom instead, right? And this actually was Focus Sash Blood Moon, believe it or not, right? So you're still gonna have the same 3 moves here, but this time it's just gonna be Protect, which is again fine, right? We're just re-EV this, but this was just straight up Modest, right? So, you know, you have a pretty interesting idea here by just going Modest. And then, of course, we can re-EV the Rillaboom. We can even just make this standard. Let's go Adamant 116. Second benchmark there. Max the HP. Get some good value out of this bulk. Let's put, you know, you can put 76 here. That's already good enough. And then dump the rest here in Spidef. That's okay. This is a very, very standard Assault Vest Rillaboom set. If you've got your own, you can definitely use it. I just, you know, put some quick basic EVs here just to get something on the board here. But if you want, you can, you know, put a little bit more in speed and outspeed stuff like Pelipper if you really want to. But otherwise, this is still like an okay Rillaboom set to use there, right? And again, Water Ape, Ghost Insane with the Berry. Okay, and this is the Sash Rillaboom, which is kind of funny when you think about it, right? So this type of team, all right, you've got 2 Fake Out users. Okay, so you have a lot of space to try and set up this Gholdengo. You can also lead either one with Dragonite here. And then when Tailwind is set up, either Blood Moon or Gholdengo can come into the following turn and then start spamming Hyper Voices and start spamming Make It Rains, right? So you can do a couple things here. And if there's something on the board that you just don't want to deal with or have a hard time removing, just Final Gambit it, and you don't really have to worry about it anymore. So let's see this. All right, so more annoying Arc Rain stuff. Again, Maushold along with the Ape and the Arc, so potential beat up or population plays are here. The fast mode with Basculegion in the rain is also there. He's got the annoying Sneasel. Very good variant of Arc Rain that you're going to encounter in your locals, as well as in Pittsburgh and Frankfurt if you're playing, or future Regulation H regionals from now. But again, Final Gambit is on the board if I need to use it. So I'm going to go D-Knight Ape here and see if he does have it. So it's going to be Mouse Pelipper. No target here that I want to Final Gambit at all. It's going to just protect the Maushold here. I was going to close combat this thing, right? And then just click Tailwind. And even if he clicked Hurricane into my Ape, it would have been a free switch into something there, right? So he didn't do that. He goes into Ape. He goes into Arc anyway. Now he does go Tera Ghost on the Mouse. So we bait out the Tera. And now we scale shot the Arc here. Now, of course, we're activating the stamina boost here. But this is still like okay because, again, we can always haze if we have to. Now, it depends on what this mouse was doing. But again, this is why he went Tera Ghost. But instead of clicking Population Bomb into the Dragonite, he actually clicked it into the Archelon. And why he did that, I couldn't tell you. He could have just easily removed the D-Knight off the board here. But this just does more damage to him, right? Because I've already got him to all his boost and whatnot. Well, not all, right? Because it was just 4, not 6. So yeah. But look how much damage the Arc has taken already, right? So I'm just going to haze away all those buffs, right? Thank you, D-Knight. And then just Rage Fist the Maushold here. Not quite 50%, so that's a problem. Okay, Electro Shot does break my multi-scale, of course. And I have one Tail of Tailwind left, right? So I'm just going to try and protect here. Maybe get another thing out of the Maushold. I'm just going to taunt him first. Again, Population Bomb going into the Arc. Trying to get all his buffs back, I guess. Which I could have just doubled into the Maushold there, and that wouldn't have even been possible. But he didn't even click Protect there. I thought he might, but he didn't, and I clicked Taunt anyway. So, probably a misplay on my part here, and now he just misses well, not miss, but he whiffs the Draco there. So far, he's getting some good value here with Mouse Arc. I have to pivot out my D-Knight here. This is not enough to kill the Mouse anyway. Mouse is still surviving. Population Bomb, I called into the D-Knight there. I switched into Gholdengo. Draco Meteor, not bad. We take it, right? And now he's -1. So now I just make a play. He's going to go into Pelipper. I know he wants to preserve Mouse here, so this is an easy Final Gambit. Get rid of this thing. Now that the Redirector is gone, I'm just going to click Nasty Plot here and go for it, right? So there it is. We got the setup we needed. Gholdengo is up here. Basculegion here. I know he's going to get greedy for the Gholdengo, so I just need to set up Tailwind. The Pelipper protects here. He could have even set up Tailwind on his part, but he chooses not to go for Tailwind, which is a mistake because that loses him the game, right? But, these are just some calls I had to make here. But anyway, now we just overwhelmed the Pelipper. He only has this thing left. And, of course, it's just the Mouse here. But we have our Tailwind. He goes for Hurricane. Doesn't get the Gholdengo kill. And now, he just has the Maushold left. And Scale Shot looks good here. He protects Pelipper here. And we miss the Scale Shot. But again, just click Make It Rain and, all is well in the world, right? So he does play well. Like, I'm not going to lie. He did play well. We didn't quite play optimal. But the Final Gambit opened things up. Because once he switched out the Mouse, we got rid of the Arc. And then from there, we were able to, continue to do what we needed to do. All right, this last one here with this variant. So, like, this is like one of those Typhlosion Eruption teams here, and Instant always just messes up teams like this. The only thing he really has is like the Primarina, but again, we're like fine with that because Instant just runs through, not like runs through, but is able to take at least 5 of these mons. Like Scalper can't have the clear amulet, but that doesn't matter, right? So I'm gonna go with Instant, and I'm gonna go with Gholdengo here again for like Primarina stuff. There's the Merkle, there's the Typhlosion. This is easy, right? We can just protect Gholdengo turn 1 here, and then just click knock off on the Typhlosion. He could go Sunny Day here, right? And he could even like Terra Fire and whatnot, but it's still fine. Look, Eruption, decent damage into Instant, but not nearly enough. Doesn't even get me to half. Doesn't even Terra. So goodbye Choice Scarf there. Free Typhlosion kill. Now he goes into back Scalper. It doesn't even matter here. Tailwind, again, looks good. High horsepower into Gholdengo. Not enough damage. It's not Life Orb. We click Make It Rain, right? The Merkle is actually Sash, not even a Violet. It's on the Electabuzz. And goodbye back Scalper. And we remove the Murkrow here, and he loses 3 mons in 2 turns. And that is the issue sometimes with these Murkrow Tailwind teams, is like Incin kind of just messes up a lot of what they have. We'll do one more here with the Magmar as another option as like a redirector here. So we'll put back the Alolan-Ninetales here. This time it's not like Icicle Spear stuff. It is Encore. Fast Encore Ninetales that's not Prankster is also relatively useful. This ape is going back to the other ape that we had, but this time we're going to put Goggles here because again, we don't have Incineroar here, so we can put the Goggles here instead. This is going to be Covert Cloak Ninetales, Terra Steel, of course, decent. Again, resistance, more investment into our HP and our defense here. Again, just to get good value with our snow. And then at the same time, we're still relatively fast. So we still got like a good Blizzard spam and Icy Wind stuff. But we're just really aiming to stay on the board and support with Icy Wind and Encore. Back to the traditional AV Blood Moon set here. But this Magmar in particular, again, with the Burning Jealousy is a neat tech. You can easily put Overheat or Heat Wave here if you don't like Burning Jealousy. But the idea is this. If these things, you know, like a Dragonite want to go for like Scale Shot and whatnot, or even the apes that want to go for like Bulk Ups and whatever, you can just click Burning Jealousy and then they just get burned. Because the turns that they go for stat rises, then you can just burn them. And then they just hit like wet noodles for the rest of the game. You got Clear Smog here on the Magmar, you know, for removal for buffs, which means on this D-Knight, you can afford to go Tera Normal Extreme Speed for some KOs if you have to go for it, which is sometimes relatively useful, right? So I do like this idea quite a bit. And then this Gholdengo is also relatively standard. Tera Dragon or Tera Water, either way, same EV spread here. But this is another good variant of Doug that you can definitely consider. So let me showcase this for a couple games. All right, this is like some weird Garchomp team here. He's got Empoleon here, I guess, to discourage Intimidate into it. He's got Sylveon, not a whole lot of fairy types this format, again, without Flutter Mane here. Volcarona could be your dominant fairy type with Tera Fairy, Quiver Dance, Tera Blast there. Then he's got Ferrigaf and Amoonguss for like a trigger mode here. I kind of understand what he's trying to do here. I just don't think he has the best mons to do the job here. Ferrigaf Garchomp is an interesting lead. I'm going to go D-Knight Ninetales here. Couple of options. I have ideas to set up the weather. I'm just going to go Annihilape here just in case he wants to click like, you know, the Dragon move there into my Dragonite there. Trick Room goes up on the board. I get Aurora Veil up. It's going to go into Amoonguss here. That's fine as well. I'm going to protect Ape. I don't want to get Psychic Noised, right? Or potentially some other Psychic move. But Blizzard is just free chip damage. No freezes, unfortunately. But now this is where I can go Tera Fire and just go into Gholdengo. So no Spore can do anything here, especially because I have Goggles on the Ape and now it's Gholdengo. Now he chips and makes my, you know, Rage Fist do more damage. I'm just going to go for the bulk up here. Again, now our Ape is looking okay to an extent. He's going to go into Empoleon here. This is free Nasty Plot behind the Veil. Rage Fist going into the Empoleon here. It's still pretty good damage, honestly, right? He roars out my Ape. What attack, and brings back the Ninetales, oddly enough there. So I'm going to go back into D-Knight here. It's going to go Tera Water and Empoleon there. Helping Hand. But I'm just going to protect Gholdengo here just in case. He actually goes for Raw Surf and deals a lot to his own Ferrigaf. Oddly enough, interesting play. Trick Room is gone. That means we're good to go here. Just, you know, deal some pretty good damage into Amoonguss. Okay, and just remove the Ferrigaf off the board, which we are able to do. But Amoonguss, again, has hit his last life here. But again, now D-Knight sweeps. We have everything we need. Empoleon comes back on the board here. Rage Powder comes out. Again, just remove the Amoonguss and just Shadow Ball the Empoleon. At this point, there's not really a whole lot he can do. I'm faster than everything. I have all the setup. And he can't Tera anymore because he Tera'd the Empoleon. So the Garchomp can't do anything now. And that's it. More Arc Rain. This is the more standard version, right? With Instant Amoonguss, Gholdengo, and Basculegion. So again, still fine. We have a lot, you know, for this. He's going Instant Gholdengo mode here. I'm going to go Dragonite and Ape. I have the Ninetales if I have to use it. But thank you for intimidating my Annihilape here. He's going Tera Dragon Gholdengo. I'm just going to go bulk up here. He didn't even click Fake Out. I'm going to go Tailwind. I don't care what happens to D-Knight at this point. Going Nasty Plot there. Okay, and he goes for knockoff. Thank you for the crit. There goes my Goggles. Okay, Drain Punch. Give me all that health back. Didn't even bother switching. All right, and now we can just deal super effective damage into the Gholdengo. Okay, unfortunately, he is relatively bulky and he can survive this. Right, I did need that fifth, but I don't get it. And now here comes the Make It Rain. It does way too much damage into Annihilape. So I think the mistake here for me is I could have just Tera Fired, right? And I would have been fine. But now he has this. This is okay. He goes into Pelipper, which is, again, still fine. I'm going to go Tera Dragon now. And I'm just going to go Scale Shot here. The Basculegion, may Wave Crash or Last Respects here. Either way. But he's too slow. Now I just beat him. Okay? Because that thing is adamant and I'm timid Gholdengo. So I'm just going to outspeed it every time. So it's unfortunate for him. And that's the problem with Basculegion in the rain versus Tailwind Gholdengo. You saw this in the other game, right? And it happened again there. The timid Gholdengo will outspeed the Basculegion because the Basculegion is adamant and you are a timid Gholdengo. And that is the main selling point as well with the Gholdengo, besides the mirror matchup like this. All right, one more here. So he's got, this time he's got Arkellan, but on this like hard Trick Room team with Intimidate and the Armor Rouge here. So there's some ideas for wide guard. There's side spam stuff here. This is where Magmar could be relatively useful, right? Because again, Burning Jealousy, good in the sun. I could burn things, even though none of these things I can really care about burning. I do have to watch out for Flash Fire, but as long as I can support perhaps the Gholdengo here, and it could do relatively well. And then Blood Moon looks great here with the AV. So I'm still going to bring the Ninetales here. So my idea is this. If I'm going to go Ninetales and Blood Moon, if he goes into Torkoal now, it's going to do so much chip. So what he can easily do just to like stop my Aurora Veil is just go into Torkoal and click Trick Room. But if he does that, the Ursula is just going to do like free damage there, right? So there, he didn't even do it. So there's the Veil. He just clicks Expanding Force, goes Tera Psychic, Hyper Voice, a little bit of chip, almost like no damage. It's actually Indeedie's leftovers. So good recovery on there. So we didn't do it here. So I can still click Blizzard. A little bit of chip, not a whole lot here. Again, Expanding Force doing a whole lot. Hyper Voice, a little bit more damage, but I don't want to lose the Blood Moon now. So I'm just going to go into Gholdengo. I'm going to switch up into Magmar here, right? And then just go Tera Dragon, Nasty Plot. So no Trick Room yet. Okay, there's the Nasty Plot. And he's just going to keep clicking Expanding Force. That's a lot of damage into my Gholdengo, by the way. I thought he might click the Fire move, but he didn't click the Fire move. So this is just free, make it rain, goodbye, okay? And I'm still like quote-unquote +1 here, which is great. Now he's down to 2 options, and Magmar's still alive here with the Veil still up. He's going to go Incin and the Arkellan. No Fake Out available because, again, with Psychic Terrain. So I'm just going to go Follow Me, and I'm going to go with another Nasty Plot. Let's get this thing to +3 again. Depulse, we take it. Aurora Veil is great. Knockoff, still living. Magmar bulking everything. And now we can just Shadow Ball this arc here, and I just want to see if this thing is sturdy or not, and it wasn't even sturdy, so I was very, very confused here, okay? But there is the knockoff play, okay? And now we just clean things up with Ursaluna. I'm very surprised that usually those kinds of Arkelladons are sturdy, but he was not sturdy, okay? And then this is just an easy Earth Power there. All right, so that's it. So those are some pretty standard, easy Doug teams to start with. This is the standard one with Incin and Amoonguss with Sneasler here. And this is an easy one to use in the beginning if you haven't used Doug before. Then after that, then you could start using like the Alolan-Ninetales stuff. This one here, this is the Victory Road one. Again, with Maushold and Annihilape here. With, again, Maushold being relatively supportive with the Frangard. Super Fang chip damage there. Beat up, of course. Nice into your own ape if you want to use this variant. Then you've got the Alolan-Ninetales with the Sash support here with Icicle Spear into your own ape. Goggles ape is very good at getting around Amoonguss. And then, the Rillaboom here has to go with the Miracle Seed because the AV is on the Blood Moon. Then you've got the Trainer School one where you have the double fake outs from Incin and Rillaboom here. The ape is a different set, right? This is a Goggles ape with Final Gambit and Taunt. And then the Blood Moon is in fact a Sash set. So you can opt for this one if you like. And then this one over here, this last one, this is Magmar here. Again, with Burning Jealousy, it's also relatively solid. If you want to go for this is also okay. And Clear Smog comes on this, which means you don't need Haze. You can go for Extreme Speed on this D-Knight. This is a Covert Cloak and Alolan-Ninetales instead, right? Rather than the Sash. So you're still going to be bulky here. You've got Fast Encore that's not Prankster, which is also relatively useful. Gholdengo, again, is just doing Gholdengo things, right? So, yeah, so all 5 pastes will be in the video description below. So hopefully this gives you a nice little introduction to Doug if you haven't used Doug before. Otherwise, you know, feel free to use any of these teams in your next local if you need to have something. And if you are going into Pittsburgh or if you're going into Frankfurt, be sure to be prepared against any of these 5 because they are relatively common variations of Doug that have been used before in the previous format. So, you know, you can pick one up yourself or be ready to handle them. All right. But that's it for now, folks. We'll be back with another video in the next one. Peace out and have a good one.